Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Wednesday, the middle of the week, hump day. Happy Wednesday to you. You and me, we're gonna survive this week, but you know what didn't survive? And this joke basically writes itself. I'm not gonna even say it. Let's just watch a video. Something is burning in Russia. What is it? Oh! Somebody smoked very carelessly on the 51st Grau arsenal, only 60 kilometers from Moscow. Now, this is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, ammunition storage and warehouse in the Russian Federation, housing up to 250,000 tons of ammunition. And what happened here? Now, I might say Russians smoked carelessly. It went kaboom, right? And you might blame me on, oh, Artur, you're only making fun of the Russians. Actually, it's not me. I will now read you Russian Ministry of Defense report about this kabooming. Quote, according to the preliminary information, there are no casualties. The cause of the fire is a violation of safety requirements when working with explosive materials. Actually, locals report that they heard the buzzing of drones in the air right before the explosion, so we think it's the Ukrainian drones who did it. Well, obviously it is, but the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation themselves, they don't want to admit that Ukrainian drones can hit this arsenal. We're going to get into the reasons later. And for them, it's better to say pretty much that their soldiers smoked carelessly. Somebody made a mistake. It's our fault. It's not the Ukrainians who did it. Now, what might be the reasons that Russians don't want to admit that it's the Ukrainians who have that kind of capability to blow up the biggest ammunition warehouse in all of Russia? Well, because this, first of all, it is the biggest. Second of all, let's go to the map, because this explains quite a lot for us. See, this is the 51st Grau arsenal, which pretty much is like a missile troops ammunition storage warehouse site. If you zoom into it, you can clearly see these are all hangars and earthworks. You basically stock ammunition here, and you repair and stock also old outdated munitions that are just dangerous. If we zoom out, we see where it is. It's in vicinity of Moscow. It's only 60 kilometers from Moscow, and this is one of the heaviest concentrated anti-air capabilities in all of Russian Federation, around Moscow and around the biggest ammunition warehouse. So if Ukrainians were able to send, we have reports of about 4 drones into this area, connecting to the targets, making it go kaboom in the most beautiful way. If Russians would admit to it, they would admit that their air defense is nothing, it's zero, it's pointless, because this would be the most heavily defended area, and still they couldn't take down these 4 drones who now knocked out cold this weird shaped 51st Grau ammunition arsenal. As you can see, I'm very happy and giggly about it. I love when Russia goes kaboom, and this is one of the biggest ones. Let's look what was inside the arsenal. Now, these are old photos of the 51st arsenal. This is one of the hangars I showed you from the map. You can see they just house missiles inside. It could be anything inside, from the KH missiles, the X-101 or Galiber, anything. It could be anything. But it's explosive. You can tell it's explosive by even the Russians trying to keep some distance and cover them up, because they don't usually do that. Secondly, you can see here that they also have, whatever it is, explosives or ammunition, whatever it is, it's right next to this massive looking fire extinguisher. So if any soldier were to smoke carelessly, they can grab this big fire extinguisher and extinguish the fire. Well, that didn't really work out for them, did it? Now, it wasn't only the first explosion, it was the secondary one. You know, you see the smoke right here. This is the smoke from the first explosion. A lot of the forests are burning already. And now we have a video of another big explosion. As you already know from even from the satellite imagery, this is an arsenal of many different ammunition sites, and the first explosion blew the ammunition out. It was burning and detonating, and then igniting other ammunition sites around it also. Like, earthworks are separating these hangars, and burning ammunition fell on it, and we have many secondary explosions actually all across the day. Now, Of course, this was hit yesterday when it was dark, but this gives us the perfect footage of what it might look like if you detonate something big in a dry season of the forests. In Russia and Ukraine, you got two Rasputitsa seasons during the year, which is melting snow and rain. When that is over in the spring, for example, it gets insanely dry and everything will catch fire very quickly. Every year in Russia, there are massive forest fires. And you caught one of these seasons right now with this explosion, and there is a massive forest fire around it now. So now I want to show you something very peculiar that can only happen if a very big amount of ammunition goes kaboom. This is a few kilometers away from the epicenter of the explosion. And this is a crater of falling ammunition that fell and then exploded. So what happened is the ammunition was exploded out, it fell, and then exploded on the ground again. So it's like a very strange explosion, secondary explosion, and then many small explosions around it a few kilometers away. Look at it. That's a full crater. And there are, of course, some that didn't explode. For example, this one. Look at that. It just penetrated the tarmac or asphalt. And it came from there. Look, it's at least 2 clicks away, I would say, with my eyes right now. It just exploded 2 clicks and into the asphalt. And it didn't explode. What about the houses and the civilians around it? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because, look, like this is the weirdly shaped Crow Arsenal, right? Around it, you can see this is a village of Barzova. There are more villages... Magazine Appelsin, which means it's a grocery store called Orange. And there are plenty of small villages around it in a 1 or 2 kilometer vicinity. Well, Barzova, for example, this one right here, the windows of the buildings fully shattered and some of the buildings fully destroyed. This is what the locals are reporting. So this blast, the shockwave, was powerful enough to knock down walls of the buildings 1 kilometer away. Here you can see what the local Russian authorities have issued. This is the evacuation circle. We have Barzova, Karpki, Pershino, Dubki, all of these villages and small towns around it. They will be forcefully evacuated because, as I said, the mushroom cloud, the primary explosion sent ammunition flying out and it's exploding all across this circle. And then some ammunition, which we saw in a video, is not exploded and becomes a dangerous unexploded ordnance, I think. Yes, for civilians. So they are evacuating this circle, which is a few kilometers around the explosion. All right, I want to catch up this topic, summarize this topic. I'll go through the main information one more time for you so you know everything about it, because this is big. It was the 51st Arsenal of the Main Missile and Artillery Directorate, or GRAU as you call it, of the Russian Ministry of Defense. And it had the capacity of 264,000 tons of various ammunitions. Now, we don't know if the arsenal was full, of course, but the sizing of the explosion tells us at least 100,000 went up in flames. This information comes from the Ukrainian side, who can kind of say, relative to the explosion's size, how much ammunition was exploded. They say at least 100,000, so pretty much close to half of the ammunition maximum potential was exploded, which is massive. Just 60 kilometers from Moscow, this means it's the most heavily defended area air defense-wise in all of Russia, and still Ukrainian drones connected to it. And that is the reason why Russian Ministry of Defense does not want to admit that it was the Ukrainian drones, because this would also be saying that their air defense capability is garbage. The arsenal had 45 storage facilities and 30 ammunition storage sites. And if you zoom out on a map of all of Russian Federation, you see Estonia also right here. You see how close it actually is to Moscow. So far, local authorities have confirmed the explosion, a fact later verified by the governor of Vladimir Oblast. He also threatened to prosecute anyone who disseminates information other than official statements. So they're trying to collect and contain the information already, but every Russian civilian who has a phone around that beautiful explosion is already posting videos about it. I'm really thankful for them, because there's something beautiful to watch for us, me and you. So we ended with the perfect information here that they are going to prosecute anybody who says false information about this explosion. Well, the official information from the Ministry of Defense is that it was an accident by the Russians operating in that arsenal. The thing is, the reality, the truth now, we get to it. It was the Ukrainian drones. It was a perfectly made drone attack against this arsenal. It penetrated Russian air defense capabilities in the strongest concentrated area that they're supposed to have it. This means Russians will now be forming a committee. This is said on the report of the Russian Ministry of Defense. On the instruction of the Russian Ministry of Defense, Andrei Belousov, a commission was created to establish all the circumstances of the incident. They call it an incident, under the leadership of Deputy Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation, Colonel General A.M. Buliga. Well, basically, the commission got an order from the Minister of Defense. You find out who did it and you prosecute them. And the straight order says that you're going to find out who made the mistake, but they're not going to research why the air defense wasn't working, meaning they cannot change anything. They will find wrong reasons in the wrong areas, and this is why the real situation will remain the same, and Ukraine will continue attacking these arsenals, because the real reason is that their air defense was not working properly. Perhaps Ivan was sleeping on the post, perhaps the air defense just didn't detect the drones, but the Minister of Defense has ordered an investigation not to look into the real reasons, because that would be very embarrassing for Russia. This is why Ukraine is able to hit time and time again these massive ammunition storage sites. This concludes the topic, but a little bit connected to it. This is oil refinery in Moscow, and this is what they're doing to protect it. They're installing steel wiring coming from the tops of the chimneys and higher peaks of the refinery, connecting to the ground. This is not a net, it's steel wires going down very close by, forming a semi-defensive net against the refinery. This is what they're doing. Right, Moscow, supposed to have the best anti-air defense capabilities, and still they have to use these nets, because it was just proven to us and to everybody that Ukraine can just strike the biggest Russian ammunition site 60 kilometers from Moscow. So these nets might be the only thing that save you. Alright, my friends, the part that I have been waiting for all this video, I'm going to butcher Buy Me a Coffee monthly members now. And if you are a member, I just answered all of the messages 2 days ago in Buy Me a Coffee. Many of you were asking for the patch. You will get the patch if you're a monthly member, and I'll be sending them out this week to you. We have many new members now. We have Kurt Petkus, who became one of the biggest members. This only happens about once or twice a year. So Kurt, thank you for making history. Thank you for being such a legend. We have Wierzoslav Brzezinskiewicz. Damn you Polish, you have a Slavic language with a Latin alphabet, and I cannot. Wierzoslav. I'm gonna call you Wierzoslav. Thank you. Kraik Plakman. That's an easy one. Yuri Blazek. Thank you, Yuri. Yuri wrote to me to butcher his name again because he missed it. But Yuri, I'll do it for you. Robie and Diana Rsa. Tobias Wagner. Mr. Wagner. Thank you to every one of you guys who you are a member. If you want to support the channel, Buy Me a Coffee link is in the description below. Become a monthly member. You will get this patch and I'll be butchering your name to oblivion. So, 2 days ago, we got the official United States ultimatum to Ukraine. The US has given an ultimatum to Ukraine, and this is what it is. It's quite bad, actually. Recognize Crimea as Russian, abandon any attempt to join NATO, and agree to a neutral zone and Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant to be managed by the US. This is what Trump is always talking about. We now have the answer. This is like the big ultimatum. You gotta do this, otherwise we're out. We now have the answer from the Ukrainians. Zelensky made a press conference letting us and the world know how and where do they stand. And I'll bring you the main points so you know what's up with the negotiations on US, Ukraine and Russia. I quote now, as soon as we start talking about Crimea, about our sovereign territories, we enter the format that Russia wants, prolonging the war. Ukraine will not legally recognize the Russian annexation of Crimea. There is nothing to talk about. This is beyond our constitution. This is our territory, the territory of the people of Ukraine. That will not happen. If Ukraine accepts not being in NATO, what will Russia accept? It's a great question because Trump is only pushing Zelensky, not pushing Russia at all. The thing is, I'll put it to you simple and plain. Ukraine refused, Zelensky refused, the parliament refused because they're not going to go over their constitution. They refused the United States ultimatum. So it's now up to Trump whether he wants to pull out fully from the negotiations. There were information last week that Trump is pretty much done with this. Well, let's see. The thing is, the truth on the table, you will hear it on this channel. Ukrainians are fighting for survival. It's not for any political reason. They know what will happen if Russia takes over. We know in Estonia what will happen. They will continue fighting. There's no deal to be made with Trump, who doesn't understand that if you're fighting for survival, you don't make this kind of deals. Russia is playing Trump. Another part of truth. Putin is dragging his feet, just buying time, playing Trump, lessening the United States, standing in the world by just playing down Trump's promises and breaking deals. Trump, I don't know or if he has or hasn't any idea that Russia is playing, but I am betting on the fact that if he finds out, he might get angry enough, his ego might flare up enough that he might actually do something bad to Russia. That's where I put my money on, because anything else, I think Trump is a complete moron. But in this instance, his ego might be on our side if he finally understands how he has been played. And now we are going to Trump, because so much information comes out, and it pains me to see the delusion, the information space where Trump is living, the delusions of him. Well, let's first of all take apart this China-Trump thing. China has just issued a major warning to the world that if it will retaliate against countries that cooperate with the US on tariffs in ways that compromise Beijing's interests. Right, and what happened after that warning? I'm sure it wasn't just that warning, it was maybe Trump's understanding that his hardball with China is just not working at all, but this is memes that says it all pretty much. Poker, Trump and Xi Jinping. Trump says, all in. Xi Jinping calls it. Trump is, yeah, what am I gonna do? I fold. That's what it is. It's not just a meme, because check it out. This is the latest press conference with Trump, and he said that 145% is very high. It won't be that high. It will come down substantially. It will not be zero. It used to be zero. The thing is, he answered a very direct question from a reporter that he will not be playing hardball with China anymore. He will be very nice. He said, I will be very nice. China will be very nice. Where does this come from? He has been 2 months straight saying that we're gonna punish everybody. We're gonna get trillions of dollars from these tariffs. And now he's back, like rolling them back. I'm calling it, I said it how I said it when he took the office, that everybody called his bluff. And now he's backtracking. With the Russia-Ukrainian war, the same way, Trump cannot make peace in that war because he does not understand why Ukrainians fight. If you don't understand the root cause of it, which is survival, you cannot negotiate a peace. He doesn't understand how the trade works in all of the world also. All right, I know I trigger a lot of people by talking about Trump in the United States, so I'm going to go to JD Vance, because this is too good to ignore. JD Vance visited the Pope 2 days ago, and they shook hands. You can see it in this video. It's documented. They shook hands, and the Pope straight up died a few hours later. This Pope is a legendary Pope, straight up died. Boom, done. JD Vance did it. It's him. This dude is poison. Look at that. Assassin's Creed. You get JD Vance here. They don't know I killed the Pope. Everybody dancing peacefully. Yeah, I cannot read you this meme, but you will read it on the screen if you want to. So, here we see Trump awarding JD Vance for killing the Pope. And Trump obviously will be the next Pope. This is why he's given the award to JD, who took out his competitor. JD so proud. And it gets better, okay, I wish this was a meme, but actually yesterday, like 2 days ago, he met the Pope. The Pope died. Yesterday, JD went to his family, they flew to India, meeting the Indian Prime Minister Modi right here. And Modi is no fool. He saw what happened to the Pope, and he got the children ready. The children are a buffer zone. They nullified JD's poison, and there's no physical contact between Modi and JD. Look at it. Modi is no fool. He knows he cannot touch JD's hand even for a moment. He will die, straight up die. That's what the Pope did. So he is protected by the children. No physical contact between them. I know I'm jumping from topic to topic, but there's so much to talk about and so little time. I only get 25 minutes of your time every 3 times a week, and there's I want to talk for an hour because there's so much we need to discuss. So I'll just give you this information. I'm not going to comment it much, but it speaks for itself. Tesla just posted a brutal earnings report. Net income plunged 71%. Total revenue dropped 9% year over year to $21.3 billion. The stock is down 41% in 2025. So, and most of these losses come from Europe and China. Europe, because we don't like fascists on this continent, and China, because Chinese car manufacturer BYD is actually kicking Tesla's ass. Okay, my friends, we get to the final topic. It's a jumpy again, but it's so understand for the United States viewers to, it's so important for the United States viewers to understand. And I've said it on this channel for the last years, actually, that this is not a Russo-Ukrainian war. This is a war of world views. It's a war of the West versus the war of the East. It's a world order changing war. And just to illustrate this one more time, it has been illustrated many times, but Russia ratifies strategic partnership treaty with Iran. Russia and Iran confirmed their commitment to deploying a military technical cooperation and conduct joint military exercises. If one of the parties is attacked, the other should not provide any assistance to the aggressor. Russia also intends to create a payment infrastructure in cooperation with Iran and promote media cooperation to counter disinformation. And you can see it here, Federalny Zakon. Well, the thing is, it's connected to the next and final topic I want to mention. I haven't mentioned it, but the Houthis reportedly shot down the 6th Reaper drone in the last 2 months. In the last 60 days, 6 United States Reaper drones are shot down by the Houthis. One of these drones costs 30 million, and it is a very great drone. It does wonderful bombing missions. And Houthis started shooting them down on this numbers this often ever since 2025 when Trump took office. And you know where Houthis are getting their funding and their weaponry from Iran. And where Iran is getting their capabilities from Russia. Russia pays a massive amount of money to Iran for Shaheds, for missiles. Iran is funding Houthis directly. Without Iran, there are no Houthis. Without Russia, there's no Iran that aggressive. So it's all connected. These Houthi actions against the United States Reaper drones are very, very directly connected to Russia's aggression in Ukraine and the fact that it goes unpunished by the United States. So if you're watching from the United States and you might not like the fact that Houthis are actually shooting down United States Reaper drones, it's not the Houthis you should be punishing. It's not even maybe Iran. It is Russia. But this, for some reason, goes not understood in the United States. It pains me to see this. Even Trump doesn't get it. He's bombarding the Houthis in Yemen. He's getting ready to bombard Iran. But Russia is the one funding the whole show. And is a friend with the Russians. So enlighten me, people from the US, what is going on here? It's a simple truth to understand. You go to the root cause, not the symptoms. The root cause is Moscow, the symptoms is Iran and the Houthis. Alright, my friends, this is it. I stayed under 30 minutes. Thank you for trusting your time with me, and thank you for being a monthly member and buying me a coffee. Until my next video, which will be on Friday, and also for YouTube members on Saturday also, because you get 4 extra videos per month. Slava Ukraini, and bye-bye.